We are live now, but nobody's on yet.
Where's the camera? So am I always gonna be looking?
Yeah.
Can I talk to like your face?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, people are starting to tune
Hello
in.
everyone. Happy New Year.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Chúc mừng năm mới. How do you say that in Korean? Happy New Year.
새해 복 많이 받으세요.
Just say it quickly.
새해 복 많이 받으세요.
That's hard. I think chúc mừng năm mới is easier for me.
Yeah, it is a bit hard.
Is it 6?
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock.
Ooh, how many people do we have on?
We have 143 right now.
Dang, that's a lot. I guess I'll just get started and start talking about what I'm doing today. So thanks for tuning in, guys, on your Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are, or maybe in the middle of the night, as some people are maybe tuning in from across the globe. But today I'm excited to have as a guest on my Instagram, Shum Jr. For those of you who don't know who he is, most of you probably do, but he's an actor. He was on Glee, right, John?
Yes.
You watched him on Glee?
Yes.
I heard he's a fantastic dancer, so I'll have to let him know. Because I'm visually impaired, I don't know, but John tells me he's a great dancer. His recent movie is All My Life, which is a romantic drama where he plays an aspiring chef that deals with some health issues. I can relate to that, as I myself had an autoimmune condition, and so I know what it's like to deal with doctors and stuff. But we're gonna actually do a live him today how to make Vietnamese egg rolls or fried spring rolls, or in Vietnamese it's called gia giò or gia giò, however you pronounce it, whether you're from the north or the south. But I chose this dish because it is Lunar New Year today, or Tết in Vietnamese, and it is good luck, or considered, to have good fortune if you eat egg rolls, because they kind of, their shape like represent gold bullion. So
All right, Harry joined us.
that's why we're gonna do egg rolls.
Hi,
Harry.
Christine. How are
Hi,
you?
welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you virtually. I'm super excited because I'm a huge fan. Like, my husband watched Glee, and I recently listened to your movie All My Life. It was great. So
Oh, thank you.
Super
Thank you so
excited.
much. Me too. I've been a big fan of yours since Master Chef. I mean, it just you blew me away, and you made me emotional. You made me cry. You also just made me salivate over the food, and just an amazement of I think what you've done. I think for a lot of people to see what you were able to do, and also to get Gordon Ramsay to give you so much love, which is not an easy feat. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's funny that you said I made you cry and stuff on MasterChef, because you made me cry on All My Life. So we have that in common. So yeah, welcome to our cooking session today. So I know that you've heard a little bit ahead of time what we're making today. So I wanted to do, in honor of Lunar New Year,
Yes.
egg rolls. So you probably got your ingredients. Is there anything you want to start off talking about or anything, or should we kind of get into it?
Yeah, we can get into it. I mean, happy Lunar New Year. I know this is I guess for the Vietnamese culture, just to give, because we long noodle, long knife, there's a long life, there's different ways of certain foods you eat kind of represents I don't know, a well wishes, prosperity, or wealth, or health. So I mean, is there any background to these Vietnamese egg rolls, as far as culturally?
Yeah, so I was just talking to the followers that, yes, so the reason egg rolls are a good thing to eat during New Year's is because the shape of them and the look of them, they kind of represent gold bullion. So you're supposed to kind of eat them to get good fortune. Other things you can eat, like you said, are noodles. You don't cut the noodles, you leave them long. That's supposed to be for good health or longevity. You can eat whole duck or whole fish. That's for good luck. There's all sorts of things, like dumplings too can also sometimes look like little gold. So there's all kinds of things that are, reasons why you eat during Lunar New Year. So yeah, egg rolls are a thing, and they're very festive food. Like growing up, my mom made them for my birthday parties and all kinds of Vietnamese celebrations with the family. So I thought it was something that was nice to kind of put together today with you. for Lunar New Year. Did you
This
celebrate Lunar New Year growing up or now or
Oh
anything?
yeah, oh yeah, all the time. You know, my mom would was just cooking up a storm like every Lunar New Year and trying to have as many relatives over. Some I didn't even know, and I don't even know their names. So that you know, I think we all have that. You don't even know their
Yeah.
names. You don't even know if they're part of the family, but they're there and we're there to celebrate together. So I definitely did that, and I know a lot of people in the rest of the world, which is they're joining us right now. Some are up in the middle of the night, maybe already celebrated, and some are celebrating right now. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Harry, and this is Christine Ha. She is an incredible cook, an amazing palate, and she has two restaurants, right? The
Yes, that's
Blind
right.
Goat, and what's the other one's name?
Xin Jiao. So that means hello in Vietnamese. So Xin Jiao. Yeah.
Xin Jiao, so Xin Jiao. So definitely follow her after this, but let's get started. Let's get some Vietnamese egg rolls
Yeah, so
going.
I have all my ingredients laid out, which I know that I sent you ahead of time. So they're not exactly measured out, to the degree, but I will tell you what's supposed to go in it. So first we have here carrots. So they're all already like shredded up or finely chopped, but you will need half a pound of carrots.
Okay.
I have a whole onion, which should be diced up. This should be also half a pound. We have green onions or scallions. This will be a quarter pound, which we will cut together
Okay.
in the feed or in
Let
this
me get it
video. So
out.
I'm going to set that aside. And then we have here, which looks pretty gnarly. This is called a wood ear mushroom. This is the dried version. You can get them fresh as well, but you would want to reconstitute
Harry
this.
looks confused.
Well, I didn't know they looked like
Set it up.
that before. I mean, I got mine already.
Yeah, yours
It's
might
not
already
dried.
be cut up. So this is kind of what it looks like dried and whole. So this is a wood ear mushroom. This doesn't really have a lot of taste. It's mostly for texture, which I love in an egg roll. So if you get it dried, you would want to soak it in some hot water until it, becomes pliable. This is bean thread noodle, which is the same thing. It's dehydrated, so you would want to soak this in hot water as well. This is made from mung bean. And so the wood ear mushroom, you would want a quarter of a pound. The mung bean thread noodle, you want an eighth of a pound. Here we've got some shrimp, which we'll also cut up together.
Yes.
This you would need half a pound. So I'm going to set that aside since we'll use that on the cutting board. We've got some lump crab meat. This will be a quarter pound. We're supposed to have half a pound of ground pork, but I think I left that in the fridge. But I know you've got that. This is sugar. It's going to be half a cup of white sugar. Chicken bouillon, because that always adds flavor. That's a quarter. And then we have black pepper and garlic powder, a teaspoon of each. So you've got all that with you, right, Harry?
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to move my stuff aside and we'll chop some of this stuff together. In the interest of time, this is not a full cooking class, so we're only just going to chop up the green onion and then the shrimp, and then I'll get you to mix your filling all together.
All right. And are we do you cook it when you mix it all in, do you cook it beforehand and then you don't do that? Okay.
No, so that's a good question because my friend actually a long time ago, she ate my egg rolls and she's like, these are so good. I want to, make these. So I gave her the recipe, but I only verbally gave it to her. I didn't write it down. And she thought that the filling was supposed to be cooked beforehand. And then when she fried them again, she said it turned out strange. And I said, no, you make the filling, you mix it all together. It's raw. You wrap it raw, and then you fry it, and it'll cook in the fryer.
Yeah, that's interesting because usually other egg rolls that I make, because I used to work at a restaurant and, you'd cook it beforehand and then it would be hard because then you have to let it cool down. It's a whole process and then you put it on. So this seems like a lot easier to process than to cook it and then put on the wrapper, which will probably break, if it's too hot.
Right.
All right, so cutting the green onions.
Yep, and I'm going to move mine into this thing, which is called a deli. In the restaurant world, we use these a lot, so you're probably familiar. So I'm going to set that aside.
Should we answer some questions?
Yeah, so that's my husband, John, behind the camera. Since I am.
Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
He usually
Good.
He's the one that's a huge Glee fan. He used to watch you on Glee. He says you're an amazing dancer, and he says one day you need to teach me how to moonwalk.
That could happen. I mean, I'm not the best one. I think, there's other people who are better, but I could definitely teach the basics for sure. I have a question before we go. Like, when you're cooking, when you're, when you're tasting food, is there something like how are you processing it? Like what is the final, like the finality of it outside of just tasting and flavor, like as far as like maybe in your head, like what is going on processing through your head when you're either preparing it or tasting a food that needs more of certain ingredient?
Yeah, so when I taste food, I always try to pay attention to my initial reaction, like kind of the visceral feeling I get, or whatever I, no pun intended, like feel in my gut about
Yes.
the flavor of it or the taste. And then I think like, okay, then I try to break it down, like, what does it need? Like there needs to always be a balance in cooking. So you need like some sweetness, you need some bitterness, very little, but you need some salty. And then, sometimes you need spice. There's all kinds of things, especially acid is something that I think gets overlooked a lot, is when something seems a little flat in a dish. Usually it needs to be, have more like citrus or vinegar or something in it to kind of brighten the dish. So I kind of think like, what could it use? And then I try to play around with that and then add more of what I think it needs and then taste again. And then I really just kind of follow my gut feeling about like, how does this make me feel when I taste it? Does it make me feel like happy and want to smile? Then that means that's good. And I've reached my goal.
Yeah, that's amazing because and this is a thing that I've noticed. There's obviously certain things, certain senses are more heightened, right? I remember like if you've ever eaten anything and like the initial reaction is to just focus on the flavoring as opposed to visually what it looks like, and definitely I think I remember watching you and seeing your reaction, like you said, is kind of like it's the gut feeling, right? As opposed to like
Yes.
overthinking it and doing too much over analyzing.
Yeah, and that's what I love about cooking is, I mean, there is a big science part to it, like especially with baking, like there's a lot of science and measurements and things sometimes have to be exact. Even regular cooking there's a science, but at the same time, there's like something that's very artistic about it. And then it's also very multi-sensory and emotional when you cook. And I feel like that's what I like about how it kind of works all sides and all parts of your when you cook.
Oh, that's it's interesting. Did you have like obviously you grew up cooking. I remember your story is like you grew up cooking, and but when did you like actually want to do it as a profession?
I think I didn't really know. Like, it was just really a hobby for me. And John is actually the one that pushed me to audition for MasterChef because I loved cooking. I'm passionate about food. I love feeding other people, showing them like the dishes I grew up eating, or just trying new recipes out and sharing them with my friends and my family. And then that's when I think my friends and John were like, your story is really interesting. You started losing your vision at the same time you started teaching yourself how to cook. So why don't you go audition for MasterChef, which is a show for amateur home cooks? And then I think, having won that season is kind of what turned me around and then kind of launched me into the culinary industry.
I mean, good for you. I mean, you're such an inspiration to so many people. And I think, people are watching. I mean, I know y'all have questions, so let me stop hogging the questions and what do y'all got? I don't know, John, if you see anything. So while looking at the questions, so I'm just cutting the shrimp right now as well, right?
Yeah, so I minced mine up. I minced just a few because I cheated and I have a filling that I had made the night before. You basically want to mince your shrimp up till it's almost like a paste. A shortcut to doing all of this as well, if you don't, my mom used to do it by hand because we grew up without a lot of, she didn't have a food processor, but you could totally do all this chopping in a food processor, mixing it up. But you want the shrimp to kind of just become like a paste. So I just chopped up my shrimp like that, and I'm wiping down my cutting board now because this is where I'm going to also wrap the egg rolls. So this is
Okay.
after you chop that area up, mix your ingredients together. You probably have a lot, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. I cheated and I made a filling already.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna mix it all up, mix it all in,
Yep.
and everything together. Okay, let me do that real quick. And then the pork, which I gotta get out.
Yeah, the
Oops.
pork goes into it.
All
All right,
right, let's.
here's a question. Can you please ask him about his new movie?
Yes. Well, obviously, all my life is I think out to own on the 16th of this month, and the next month, in March, you can get on DVD and Blu-ray if you want to own it physically. And then I just got a movie that went into South by Southwest,
Ooh.
which is my first time having any movie be in the festival, and so I'm really excited about that. It's a psychological thriller, very very different than anything I've ever done. Going down a rabbit hole. Um, so I'm excited for the festival audience to see it, and hopefully soon for the wider audience. But yeah, so I'm really excited about these next few
Awesome.
projects that are coming out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so did you like when you're as far as when you're going and like when you're cooking and you're cutting at that point, like I do have a question, like is because I've always learned to cut. Did someone teach you how to cut properly, or is it kind of like traditionally that you learn from your mom or your...
No, so like, funnily enough, my mom was super protective when I was growing up, so she never let me use a knife or anything.
Makes
So
sense, yeah.
she actually didn't teach me how to cook, and I taught myself after she died. And many years later, after I grew up, I missed the foods that I used to eat of hers growing up.
Uh-huh.
So I taught myself, and I think at the time, like, I still had vision, so I watched a lot of cooking shows, and then I watched like videos online about cooking and everything, and that's really how I learned to knife techniques. And so, you know, knife safety is important regardless of whether you have vision or not. So,
Yes.
you know, having a sharp knife is important, and how you grip your food and how you grip the knife and all that. So I basically just taught myself probably by referencing like videos and stuff like that online.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like almost at this time right now, you can pretty much learn how to cook almost anything at this point right now, right? It's like
Yeah,
you know, and it's so cool that we get to do this. I mean, where are you in Houston right now? Are you in Texas?
I am in Houston, yes.
And the fact that we're able to just be, you know, in quote unquote the same place right now, learning, and you teaching me this is pretty fantastic, and the rest of the world is seeing this live. I mean, this is not new, but I'm always I'm always blown away by that. The fact that this can happen.
Yeah.
And anyways, so as far as your restaurant, so which restaurant did you open first?
I opened the Blind Goat first in 2019, and then we were super excited. Like, we had just gotten the notification that it was nominated for Best New Restaurant by James Beard Foundation, which is a huge
Oh my
deal.
gosh!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
and then the pandemic hit, and then right around that time, right before then, I had already signed the lease to open up the restaurant Sin Chow, so I had to make it work. So Sin Chow opened up in September, so not long ago during the pandemic.
Well, it's I mean, that's something to say. It's like, I think with specifically right now, and I don't know what it's been for you, and I don't know if you want to just kind of talk over is you know, during the pandemic, a lot of just restaurants in general, but specifically Asian restaurants were hit pretty hard as far as, you know, kind of the anti-Asian rhetoric that was happening, and then also just restaurants in general, like having a really hard time because people couldn't dine in. And is that, I mean, right now you're working through it, and the fact that, you know, at least you've gotten through that past year. So how was that all like for you?
I mean, it was definitely tough. Like, I personally didn't really experience that. I know some of my staff did. Our restaurants, it's hard for me to say with Sin Chow because we opened after the pandemic. So of course, like, you know, sales wouldn't be as good as they were. So it's hard, you know, to know and attribute it to the fact that, if, you know, all these kind of conspiracy theories going around about the whole pandemic, you know, being, you know, and I know there's a lot of like racist acts happening and hate crimes happening across America, which is super sad. Like I know it was prevalent in New York. I've been hearing about it in the Bay Area. In Houston, where I live, I personally haven't experienced.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that it does exist, and I don't really know. It's hard to say whether I haven't. We did. Our restaurant did get broken into, but that was kind of like during a lot of the protests that were happening last year. So I don't really attribute it to the fact that my place was Vietnamese, though.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to hear that things are going well at the restaurant. And I would love to, when this is all time and good, to like actually freely go and travel is to visit. And I would love to. I remember watching. It was a long time ago. I think before when you opened it up, I saw a random video of you. I think it was you. I don't know if it was like you trying. I forgot what it was, but one time I did visit to Houston, and I had such great Vietnamese food, because I know there's a strong Vietnamese presence there.
Yeah.
And the pho there was incredible. So
yeah,
definitely want to visit there.
Food here is really good.
Oh, also make sure you turn your oil on probably
I
around
was
now.
actually here. I turned my oil on to heat it up as I'm rolling the egg rolls.
Yes, that is a good idea.
So, Harry, why don't you describe what you look like for Christine? So,
Yeah, because
or Christine can guess what you look like.
No, let's have.
Ooh, that's a fun game.
Describe yourself to a visually impaired person, Harry, that is curious.
I mean, has John? No, I'm more curious to see how John describes me to you. That is the fun part.
Oh wow.
Who do I
look
look like, John? Who do I look like?
I don't. How about Christine guesses what you
then
think? Yeah, and then I'll tell you.
I feel like Harry is a probably, whatever means, a good-looking guy, like probably a traditionally good-looking guy. I know that he's got some Asian, so he must have dark hair.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess dark brown eyes. I'm gonna guess medium skin tone. But probably I'm gonna guess sharp features.
Sharp
and I'm
features.
gonna guess
sharp features.
I'm gonna guess
okay.
5'9".
Oh, give me a little bit more love. Give me a
5'9".
5'9". Not bad. I think you're I don't know about the good looking part, and I don't know about the sharp features. I do have some round features of that thing. It's it's so interesting to describe. I don't remember the last time I've described someone's face with that and I guess sharp features is such an interesting thing, but those details are needed, right? So I mean, when you're watching a movie, is outside of can you talk a little bit about kind of the importance of not the, I forget what it's called, it's the action subtitles, if that, what is the
like the audio description?
Audio description. So
Yeah.
The audio description of movies, I accidentally on Netflix on a movie put that on, and it was interesting because it's basically kind of like a script, right? It's just
It is. Yeah.
talking through the details of what someone's doing. I think for you, for visually impaired, obviously the importance of is that been a difficulty in getting a lot of more movies and TV shows to do that, or has that been a bigger presence lately?
It started with Netflix when they started doing all of their original content needed to have the audio description. I think that really helped and opened the door for I think accessibility being a key issue, I think, among entertainment. And I've done a TEDx talk before in California where I talk about the importance of entertainment being accessible. And I want to say that I want to be able to participate in conversations that my friends have about movies and television shows too. So to me, it is important, and I advocate for that. And oftentimes, a lot of things still don't have that accessible format or audio description. So I do have to I oftentimes will tweet producers or the movie itself and then ask please get this audio described because I really want to be able to enjoy it. You know, for example, like Parasite, that was I was able to get my hands on an audio described version, but you know, it took me a long time before I was able to get that. So that is something that I find very important.
Yeah, I think so too. To just know the numbers of people that need that, and just to make it accessible. If we're talking about making any piece of content, and not excluding anyone, I think it's incredibly important. So I'm glad that you're advocating and voicing that. Specifically, like tweeting to these
Yeah.
filmmakers, because they want, at the end of the day, they want as many people to join in on the story that they're trying to tell. And I also think it's interesting, outside of when people say, like, you know, when you mute a movie or TV show, you can get a good grasp of what the movie is if it's done well. But I think the same thing with sound too. It's like, even with silence, a lot can be said through that. So
Right.
I'm glad that you're being vocal about that.
Yeah. So for me too, for my sake, Harry, please make sure all of your future work and entertainment
Yes.
is also accessible so I can enjoy it.
If
And make
not,
sure they describe what you look like so I know.
If not, I'm only going to be known to you as a 5'9", sharp featured. I mean, look, it's so fun. Oh, anyways, is this right? I'm making my John. Can you describe what
yeah, that
these?
actually looks really good, man.
His egg rolls?
Yeah,
They might look better than mine.
it looks pretty legit. Here's Christine's.
Mine are,
Oh,
some of them are like
that's
not like
pretty damn
larger
good.
than others, but I rolled 5 because 4 is a bad luck number.
Yes, you know, I did 6. I don't know. I guess I got to do 8 now. Dang it. So yeah, 4. It's so funny. Wait, so how do you say 4 in Vietnamese?
Bon?
And does that actually, what's the closest translation to a word? Because in 4 in Chinese, it translates to like die,
Similar to death, I think,
similar to
right?
death and die. And that's been like the reason why. And then 8 is good luck, because it means like wealth and rich, and it sounds close to that. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think like I'm probably going to get a lot of flack from this from Vietnamese people that may know more, but I feel like we get it from the Chinese tradition. So I know 4 is a bad luck number. 13 is bad luck because the digits 1 and 3 add up to 4. So,
oh man,
I know
that's
7 is luck.
that's so funny. The superstition just never will end, because you'd be like, but like 7 times 9 is this, and you're gonna be like, okay, every number
Divided by 3 and carry
Yeah.
the 2,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
equals 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to start dropping my egg rolls in. I think my oil's hot enough. I've turned it down a little bit. It's sizzling as I drop it in. I don't want to crowd my pot, so I'm just going to put in like 2 for now.
Oopsie, I put 5.
Well, your pot might be bigger, so it's okay.
I got a little walk. I got a big walk, so I think I'll be good.
So Harry, do you cook often? Are you a pretty good cook?
I try to, I think I'm a pretty good cook, unless everyone in my life has been lying to me, which is very possible, just to say like, yeah, you're a good cook. But no, I do cook a lot. So some people know this, but like I grew up in, my parents owned a Chinese restaurant in the Central Coast of California. And so I grew up, that's why I'm able to roll these egg rolls, because literally I've made probably like thousands in my life, because since I was 9 they had me peel these egg rolls and roll them, but so I learned a lot from them. But it's just it opened up a whole new world, because I just realized how much I don't know, but it was cool to know the basics of it, so I was able to actually learn a little quicker than I normally would.
So we as restaurant owners, we love to feature local restaurants, like local businesses, to support them. What is like the 2 of your like kind of go-to restaurants in your area?
2 that I love, Daichan. It's this, if you look them up, Daichan, Daichan. They're known as like the Japanese soul food. And they have like great Hawaiian poke, these incredible Japanese spicy fried chicken, and they have like basically a lot of like good curry chicken, curry like with pork
I feel
chops,
like
and
we might have been there. What city is that in? Is that in
it's on
Culver?
Ventura. No, it's in Studio City.
Oh, I feel like we have been there. I think I've been there during a time when I was filming, and I was looking up like a homey Japanese place, and I think that's where we ended up.
Oh yeah, that's one of the very few. There's like not very many that do it that way, but they're just owned by
Oh,
this really cute Japanese family.
a
They named
bunch
their
of
son
decor
after.
everywhere.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we've been next to Sugarfish.
Yes, that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah, we've been
How's
there.
this one, John? Is it golden yet or longer?
Just a tad longer. So it looks like gold
Yeah, so
bullion.
they need
Ooh,
to.
mine are like gonna be golden brown.
Well, there's such a thing as carryover cooking, so you want to take them out as soon as they turn golden because they will kind of keep cooking because they're still hot.
Ooh, okay.
And
Let me
then
take
I'm
them
gonna
out.
just put mine on a tray.
Dude, Harry owned a Chinese restaurant. He's a pro.
I know.
I didn't own one. I didn't own one.
You're trying to teach a Chinese restaurant owner how to make egg
No,
rolls? It's like,
no, I was just the son of one. All right, here we go. Let me get this right.
I hear his oil.
Oh
Oh,
man.
This
man.
is like one of the scariest things for blind people is
Oh,
using
yes.
frying oil.
John, what are you doing? What are you letting her do this?
Nothing is impossible with this woman.
Hey, I feel you. I feel you.
It's
Oh
good.
man. So like especially when you're talking about like your restaurants, like is there is it more traditional type of Vietnamese?
Definitely not. I would say because there's so, you've been to Houston before, Harry, so you know that Vietnamese food here, you've had really good pho. There's so many good mom and pop traditional Vietnamese restaurants that I'm not, because I'm second generation, my parents, I was born in the US, my parents came here, but I was born in Southern California, grew up in Texas. So for me, my sensibility with Vietnamese food is definitely a different, kind of a different generation. So I love all of the traditional stuff and there's a time and place for it, but I'm not trying to duplicate like what that first generation is doing so well. I'm trying to do kind of like a more modern take on Vietnamese food and also implementing like the fact that I grew up in Texas. So there's like Texas barbecue incorporated into the Vietnamese food. There's like Tex-Mex incorporated in. So it's really just my story of Vietnamese food.
Oh, that's amazing, and that's what it should be. And it's always so interesting when we talk about like, I think there was this, during this, even now probably there's always that conversation of like what's authentic and what's not. And I think we forget to say like what's actually authentic to you, right?
Right.
What's authentic to the chef, and that might be straight up traditional cooking, that might be influenced by your environment, and when you have Tex-Mex around you, surrounded by, it's gonna start going into the dishes that you put in, and if your gut, like you're saying, is telling you like this is good, and maybe someone else will find it good.
Yeah, and I think that's like a conversation I think we have a lot, especially, we want to honor the foods of our ancestors and of our parents, but at the same time, like things change and evolve all the time. There's really, authenticity is such a word that can, like, I feel like can bring up a lot of feelings. So for me, like, it's just important if the dish is authentic to you.
Yes. And at the end of the day, if it's good, like if it tastes good, you'll be like, yeah, I don't.
I don't care who made it or
who made it, but this is really good stuff.
Right.
Usually, what sauce do you usually do with this at your restaurant?
So two things. Personally, I love egg rolls so much that I just eat them plain without any sauce because they're usually Vietnamese egg rolls are usually very flavorful. But sometimes I do dip them in a sauce. So we just do a pretty classic like fish sauce vinaigrette. So it's got like garlic, lime juice, sugar, fish sauce, and then a little bit of peppers for heat. And that's really it. So that together with egg rolls and you wrap it in like a lettuce leaf, it's pretty stellar.
Sorry, while you're, I'm cheating and taking a bite off of the egg rolls. I know we're supposed to share it together, but
how's this one, John?
That's good. Oh, that one's a little browner. I think
they're
the
getting
other one,
browner and browner.
I love your take on. I love that you don't cook the stuff before. It just makes me so happy because I'm all about less steps as possible.
Yeah.
When you're cooking something, you just don't want to do too much. You're just like, what is the easiest way to do this where I don't have to do, unless it's going to make it extremely different and better. Especially now, like I have a kid now, and that time is of the essence, right? It's just like, how quick
Yeah.
can you get this out, and as long as it tastes as good as it, and not making a huge difference on the uh, on the flavor changing too much.
I want to take a bite so bad, but they're so hot, and I always have a sensitive tongue.
Cut it in half.
Oh yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Let me cut it in half.
Yeah, that's the thing. People making this at home, if you're gonna make the egg rolls, be very careful to not take a big bite right after. You're gonna want to.
Oh,
That's
she's
the
doing
worst
Korean
thing you're gonna do.
I'm gonna cut mine with shears to try to cool it down so I can have a bite because they smell so good. But I can't have a bite because I know I'll burn my tongue, and then that's where I ruin my palate.
Yes, don't do that.
This one sounds extra crispy. Ooh, they're hot. Ooh, that one's really hot. Oh wait.
So any updates with Crazy Rich Asians?
I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew. I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm right there with you asking questions. Ooh, that looks really, really good.
Okay, pulling. That was my last one. I pulled it out, letting it cool.
Wow, so I can make like 50 or 60 with the amount that.
Yeah.
Which I'll do. They're pretty quick. I'll make them. And when you freeze them, so the cool thing is you can freeze these, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you put them, you can freeze them. You don't have to put flour. Do you have to put flour with them, or?
No, but probably between each layer, I would maybe put a sheet of parchment. But no, you can roll a bunch of them because they're pretty laborious. Freeze them, and then when you want, just take them out of the freezer and then defrost them a little bit and drop them in the fryer. You could probably try them in an air fryer because I know that's like the big thing nowadays as well. But yeah, I mean, it's Lunar New Year, so the fact that you have a lot, you need to make some for your for whomever. Drop it off at their house if we're kind of staying quarantined or whatever. But share the love.
Hell yeah! This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sure, I don't know if John told you, but like I remember you had someone recently shared a video of your journey in Master Chef, and I saw it again.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, I would love to cook with her. I would love her to teach me something. So, the power of the internet. I'm glad that we got to make this happen. I've always wanted to meet you, so hopefully I can meet you in person in the future.
Yeah.
And this was excellent. Thank you so much. I hope people at home are. I see a lot of food emojis. There's a lot of food emojis. And what's this? Let me see. What are people saying? What are people saying? Oh, Happy Lunar New Year. Everyone's Happy Lunar New Year. And so for people who are trying to make it on, there's different types. There's Vietnamese egg rolls, there's lumpia, there's Chinese egg rolls. But these are Vietnamese egg rolls. Definitely tell me about your book before we hop off.
Yeah, so
because you have a second. Is it a second book?
No, it's actually my first one, but it still sells pretty popular. So I've been kind of working on my second one, but then opening the restaurants kept me busy. So I haven't gotten a chance to work on a second cookbook, but I would love to. But my first cookbook is called Recipes from My Home Kitchen. It was actually part of the prize of winning MasterChef Season 3. So I put a lot of love into that. It's a lot of, I would say, comfort food recipes, because that's what I was known for on MasterChef. So I do a lot of Vietnamese food, but also like Southern and American comfort food. So it's those kinds of recipes. And I was super stoked when it was like a New York Times bestseller, because my background is also in creative writing. So to be able to write about cooking and have it be a New York Times bestseller was like another dream come true, like winning MasterChef. So it's called Recipes from My Home Kitchen. You can order a signed copy from me at my one of my restaurants' website. It's theblindgoat.com. And you can order signed copies on there, and I'll sign them and ship them off to you.
Yay! Christine Ha, you are amazing.
Thank
Please,
you.
everyone, follow her at The Blind Cook and on Instagram, and also go to her restaurants, check out her book, and if you want to, I know you can go on MasterChef and rewatch a lot of her episodes. It's really, really inspiring, really incredible. So If you don't think you can cook, she'll definitely give you a lot of inspiration because you know what you've been able to do and achieve is just really incredible. So
Thanks, Harry.
I'm really appreciative that you got to take some time
Yeah.
and cook with me, and I'm gonna cook all 50 of these right now. I might eat all of them right now. So
Sounds good. Thanks, Harry.
thank you, Christine. Thanks, John, and happy Lunar New Year.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye.